What's going on, friends? Here we are, Wednesday Night Live. Sorry there was no music today. I don't know what happened to my audio track, but it is MIA, kind of like my mind half the time. So yeah, Wednesday Night Live. I am your host, Alara of Sirius. I have a wonderful guest with me on tonight. What's going on, Delina, Cassandra? It's good to see you guys. Suiterbug, Leyland, Fearless. Okay, so let's see. While I go and grab the Foxhole chat, Abby, can you introduce yourself? I'm so excited to have Abby Lynn on. Woohoo!
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited for a very interesting conversation.
Yes, I've been super looking forward to this ever since. So Abby and I were on. Hold on just a second. I gotta fix something. Abby, whoops. See, I done did it right there. Abby and I were on ECETI a couple weeks ago, and I got the pleasure of meeting her and doing a show with her, and I had so much fun. It was such a great experience. I thought I have definitely got to have her on. I always have trouble with this chat. Oh boy, let's see. I got a different way to do it. Hold on, guys. I wanted to definitely have her come back. Oh boy, give me just a second, guys. I'm struggling trying to grab this. It always does this to me. Let me see. There we go. Oh, I got it. I got it. I got to find a system for doing this that doesn't cause a problem. I'll get there. Okay, so yeah. So I was on ECETI with her a few weeks back, and I got to meet her, and it was super awesome. I had a wonderful time. She was the only one in the group of us girls that I had never really had a conversation with or gotten to know. So I'm super excited, and people have told me, oh, you're really going to like Abby. People have been telling me that for a while. So I was really excited to meet Abby, and I thought, well, she's a perfect fit to come on the show. So yes, welcome, Abby. Maybe you could start by, instead of me reading your bio, telling the folks a little bit about you and what you do, and that would be awesome.
Absolutely. You know, it's so funny because I'm definitely, I believe I'm newer on scene, and you know, I kind of wait until I get that guidance, you know, and for sure, and it's becoming, you know, comfortable. I had to get to the place of being comfortable with sharing, you know, a bit of who I am and some of my abilities, and you know, and what my life's looked like. And, you know, and it's so funny because once I told my galactics, all right, I'm ready. Like, I get it. Like, all of this isn't just for me. I can't just keep this to myself. This can't just be like my secret, you know, like private life. It's time to share. And, you know, and actually having that, you know, conversation with him, even when I was on that group with you and those lovely ladies, with James, my Tijetan was just like kind of hovering over in the corner, just giving me this biggest little like ornery grin, you know, which they do. But you know, it's just trusting like, okay, I'm ready to start being vocal and speaking up, and they just like, you know, they just line things up, and sometimes they're like, all right, you said you were ready, here it comes. But yeah, you know, it's lifelong experiencer, you know, the at the age of 3, that's my earliest memory that I have. And just being taken up on craft. My memories were good. You know, I have good memories. I'm also, you know, not naive enough to know, I know there's some other stuff. I'm just not really ready, I think, to go and have those regressions yet, you know, because definitely around the age of 6 is like I started having a little bit of this, you know, night terrors. But, you know, the stuff from the age of 3 and up, and, you know, I'm still having that, has been, I don't really like the word experiencer. You know, I've talked about that before because it doesn't explain what it was. It's really just that reconnection, you know, with, you know, family. Yeah. You know, as it's been explained to me, and I've seen with a lot of people, is that it's your family. And, you know, at this particular time that we're in, you know, a lot of us that are here, we didn't go through the typical, okay, you know, our soul passed away and then we chose to incarnate in this being. That wasn't how it went for a lot of us. You know, we chose to push ourselves out of the current life that we are in. We pushed our souls out and then chose to come down here because we knew that we needed to do this work. We knew that we needed to be here for this time. And because of that, a lot of the feelings that I get from them is a lot of, I don't want to say mourning because we're not dead, but just like this loneliness. So, I mean, it's no different than, a family having a son or a daughter that goes to another country for war and they're on a 3-year tour and you don't see them for 3 years and, you miss them. That's still a part of their family. It's very similar to that kind of experience. We just push ourselves out. A lot of our bodies are laying in stasis and our family is overlooking them, waiting for this mission down here to be done. And then we're going to go back into those, hopefully. So that's definitely, part of what I do, what I see, what I understand. Professionally, I went into journalism and television production, and that's what I did for a couple of years. And I know that came from, as a child, having the experiences that I was having, I could not really find, the books, the materials, or, to go out and have those resources, because this is just such a taboo, topic, which is, it's, between you and I both know it's ridiculous. But that's kind of what drove me to go into journalism, is like, okay, I'm going to go and find these stories. I'm going to, bring them more mainstream. But then, of course, you get into it and you realize, oh, this is completely controlled. And that's probably not going to be happening, in the news or the mainstream. So I was there for about 2 years and left because I saw firsthand just the censorship and the control. And so I left doing that. But yeah, that is my professional background. Now that I'm doing this more, I still think, okay, how can we bring this more to the mainstream? So, so now I know with the experiences that I'm having and other people are having, I am always looking for, okay, like how can we produce this on a greater scale and get these stories out there? So that's a little bit about my background.
That's awesome. I used to be in that world at one time.
Yeah.
It's a very different world over there.
It's very.
So are you still in California?
No, I live in South Carolina. I live in Charleston.
Okay. How long have you been there?
I've been down here for over 6 years now. I love it. I love being down the coast. I will say, being near the water, there's a lot of activity, down here. So it's interesting.
I used to live in Savannah. I love it there. I love, where is it? Hilton Head. I love Hilton Head. I love that whole area, actually. I love it there. So.
Yeah, it's so funny. I was a little bit hesitant, just, being an intuitive and being more open, and my kids are open. I was hesitant to move down here because I didn't know how the energy would feel, because it's so old, there's so much history here, but it feels amazing. It really does. It feels good. There's only been one moment where, let's just say that it became known on the other side that I could see them. And then before I know it, I was looking out the harbor and I had like 50 soldiers from the different eras just slowly like walking towards me, and they were looking at each other like, does she really see us? Yeah, she sees us. And they just all started walking. So I wasn't prepared for that. So I ran to my car.
Let's go into a little bit of that. Let's go into how experiences have increased lately. Let's go into the changes that have been happening energetically and with contact. Because I know for myself, we were discussing this the other day. I haven't been having this happen this week, but last week I lost track how many I started to see ships, and I never used to have those experiences here. And so something is changing, and I know you've been having some experiences lately. Can you share some of those?
I actually did a Skywatch at my house last Friday, and we had about 6 or 7. It was really interesting because actually a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago, the activity was insane for Skywatches. There was one night I just stopped counting after 24, and this was just on my rooftop with my kids, and we definitely could see that they were coming in. My son was able to tap into the language that they were speaking because they were just coming in so fast. He was hearing their language.
Oh, wow.
And he said, Mom, it sounds like they're almost giving out like a like a military command. And so this one ship where he was kind of keyed into, he started asking them questions, and he said, when you say this, does this mean north, or does this mean south? And the ship would zigzag in a different way for a yes or a no answer. And so we were literally like writing down like what this word was and then what it meant. And as it was almost like there was a portal had opened up, these craft were coming in, and he would hear that, and that craft, it would go like north or south or east or west. They were all getting into strategic place in the sky. And that kind of went on for a couple weeks or months, and it was just so much activity. And then for the longest time, it's like the sky just went whoom. Like they've just been holding, like this very strong holding pattern. And I've looked up, because I only do it when I'm feeling energetically pulled to do it. Sometimes they will say like, you need to go up and look. But I'll sit outside, and it's like there's no movement. I'm like, I can feel you guys. Like, what are you doing? I can feel you. I know you're right there, and there's just no movement. But lately it's been like, there was that 1 week, and it was almost every single night. It was like,
Yep.
Go look, go look,
Yep.
go look.
What are they doing? I can't figure it out. Is it because because the mainstream media, quote unquote, UFO disclosure is coming, which we both know what that's all about? But is that why? I mean, what are you getting intuitively?
Well, they're a lot lower, but this is what's interesting about it, is because in the past I could get them to be more playful. Like they would more respond, like, oh, got you, like, okay, can you power up? Can you move? Like, and they would interact, and it was more like, playful for a while. But this past week, it's not. Like they're on a mission. And so I'm not getting that same interaction from them as I have in the past. So they're definitely more focused with where they're going. So
it's not playfulness. They want you to know they're there, because they're phasing in and out really quick. So and telling you to look. They want you to know you're there, but they're doing something.
Yes. I'm not getting the normal, like going straight across and they would power up or go and like zigzag. And it's a quick zip, 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 like, or they're just a quick flash and then gone. Yes. I've been getting a lot more of that lately.
They're doing something. They're putting together, they're working on something. Thank you, Duty Danny. Thank you, Woke One, over there in Foxhole. Hey guys, good to see ya. They're up to something is what I'm getting. Yeah.
So I did, I remote viewed on Sunday. Well, usually I tap into my Tijetan and to get a little bit more information. Right now, he's very far away, because usually when I tap into him, I can see where he's at. I can see his background. Yeah. And, that's the type of relationship that we have. Sometimes he's walking in the ship and I can see him, or he's sitting in his room, or, I can see him. And he has in the past, when I've wanted to connect, he will literally look at me and say, I can't talk right now. I'm working. Like, I can't have this connection, and it breaks. But lately it's like, I can feel him and I can see his face, but he's very distant. And I know that means that he's doing work, like he's working, but it's farther away. Yeah. So on Sunday I remote viewed, and I was suddenly at this outpost, and it was like a deserty, just a deserty background. And then I saw these 3 black, almost spheres. It was interesting because they came these spikes that went up like this. Yeah. And then on top, it was like a football, like a black football, sitting on top of that. But it was sleek, and there was 3 of them, and they were at different heights. And I walked up to one, and it was almost kind of like that Flight of the Navigator, like, like the steps just kind of appeared down. Yeah. And, and so I came up and I saw an Arcturian, and it's one I haven't seen for a while, because usually the Arcturians that I work with for healing are the blue, they have that light blue skin. But this particular Arcturian, I've seen her before. She's more of like an oatmeal color skin, and she sits more on boards. Like, she does more of guidance, like a commander in a way, but like a council worker. she was in this outpost, and I'm calling it outpost because inside it was not very, it was bare minimum inside. Like it wasn't full of supplies or rooms. It was just very bare minimum. And then in the middle of the room, she said, come here, I need to show you this. And there was a table, and she had this thing, and she rolled it out like this map. But as she rolled it out, all of a sudden it became a hologram. And it was showing me literally the galaxy. And she was a little bit on edge, a little bit. And I've never heard her like this. She said, we're monitoring this massive wave that's coming in through the universe right now. And she said, you're going to get hit the hardest from this. She said, but you're not the only one. And it's almost like that perception of, we keep thinking that we're the only ones who are going to be having this energy wave coming through us. And she said, she goes, others are going to be affected by this. And I kind of got the feeling that some of her uneasiness was like, they're monitoring a lot of things right now, not just us, for this wave coming through. And it was really interesting. This kind of tied in last August. I had a channel come in, and I was outside running, which is sometimes when these come through, but they literally said, you need to get inside and protect your family. You need to get inside, close the door, protect your family. And they said, waves coming. And I was literally out running, and they said it was as urgency. I literally ducked. Like, I ducked down the road, and I looked up like, wait, where's it coming? What's coming?
Yeah.
And then, I got like, they're like, no, it's an energy wave. And they said, all you need to do is just stay indoors for this. Like, and they said, you're going to be fine. And they were showing that this wave is coming, and it's a very, very high frequency, like, and they always say like, zzz, like I always hear that vibration, that frequency. Yeah. And they said plants, animals, our species that are already vibrating of this frequency, it's just going to go right through you. Like, you're just going to go and just go through you. But what they came through, this council came through and told me, they said, she's chosen. Gaia's chosen. She has chosen to fully ascend. And they said she was always going to choose, but she was waiting for us, like for the beings on her to raise with her. Yep. And they came through. They said she's full steam ahead. Like, she has made her decision. And like I said, and she's a sentient being. Like, we have to honor her free will. So, and what they were showing was that there have been different races that have been coming in around and helping to filter out some of these energy waves that we've been getting slammed with. Like, as you know, we've been watching like the Schumann resonance, all of the energy coming off of the sun, and these beings have been around, and they have helped to filter all of those. So we haven't been really feeling the full effects of these. So back in August, that's what they said, she's chosen, and now that she has, we have to back up. We have to back off. We can't filter these through anymore. Yeah. So that's what they're saying, like, just protect your family, protect yourself, like, these waves are coming.
Interesting.
So
I wonder if that has anything to do with I've been just having this experience lately where this happened to me in Hawaii too, but it's been happening again, where things are starting to physical things are starting to shift in front of me. Like, I don't know if anybody else is experiencing this, but it's very hard for me to describe what I'm talking about. But it's just like an energetic thing. The energetic things that I already sense are becoming visible for a minute, and then not. And things are just only word I have is shifting. They're shifting. They're changing, and it's a little bit of an uneasy feeling because you don't feel like anything about your reality is stable in those moments, or you become acutely aware of the fact that it's not. That we think it is, but it's an illusion. Yeah. It's not.
Well, it's not. Back in January, I was just kind of in a weird funk, which I'm sure a lot of the listeners tonight might understand why January was kind of a funky month.
Oh, dude.
But so my Arcturians came through and channeled, and they let me know. They said, we're already in a place where this has already happened. Like, it's already done. And they said, we're already here. We're waiting for you to perceive us. It's all about perception. It's already done. Like, but we have to shift our perception and meet them there. So, and so that, relates exactly to what you're talking about. But I've noticed, tell me if you've had any of this going on.
Okay.
Through all of these downloads that we're getting, that's this energy hitting, we're all starting to shift. I've noticed some, like, it's like there's 3 different like programs running of thought processing within my my brain. It's like almost having, like, in one place I'm getting like straight connected to source, all of this information running through, and then there's like one program that's running and it's shifting in, and it's existing in this 3D reality, understanding that, okay, you need to go to bed and you need to eat and you need to brush your teeth. Like, it can do those, provide those functions. And then it's like there's another type of a program that's coming through, and it's just having like this telepathic communication, but it's like multiple programs are now functioning at the same time. It's like different dimensional layers are separating and moving out within the thought patterns. I don't know. It was a very kind of a trippy awareness that came to me, like, oh wow, this is, and it was a time where I was having, awful migraines. I was feeling like literally like cranial pressure, like crazy. And then I've also been having, and my kids have been having it too, our eyes. I've been more like blurry, like I'll have, it's like I can't really see right. It's getting really blurry, and then my eyes are fine. And so I keyed into that last week, like, what is going on with my eyes? And they said, your eyes are changing. Yeah. They're upgrading. They're getting ready to start seeing again that perception, like what you were talking about. It's and they just said, your eyes are changing.
Yeah, definitely. We're totally changing. In a multitude of ways, and the hard part about it for me is trying to function correctly in the 3D and be any success at it. You have to be very grounded into it. Like if you're seeking the ascension and you're off in la la land, in the clouds and doing woo woo stuff all the time, you can't function here. You can't do it. No. And we're not quite there yet where we have missions to accomplish here, and we still have work to do here. So that's been my biggest struggle in this is how do I allowed myself to get too far gone, Abby, is what happened after I woke up. I got too far out there, and then I had to pull it back in so that I could finish what I was supposed to do here. And I missed that feeling. I missed that experience, but at the same time, like, I understand and appreciate and have a respect for what I have to do. And so it's okay with me. But there's moments that I have where, even if it's just a minute, where I'll go out there and I'll look up at the stars and I'll just be like, I don't know, I have these deep, profound moments, you know what I mean? Where I'm in tune, you know what I mean? And it sometimes it's hard to come back to the madness, all of it, but also that change in a person where you're desiring to be of service, it keeps you laser focused on that, in spite of how much it may be not fun, I don't know the words, but not fun in that moment. You know what I mean? We're going to get there. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's kind of a beautiful process, really, but I'm definitely feeling all these shifts. And I wanted to go into a little bit with you about, so I had a vision about the ascension thing. I don't know what you want to call it, the final, I don't know, whatever. But anyways, I was in a parking lot with a bunch of other people, and they were people of faith, we'll put it that way. And we all knew this thing was coming in this vision. Like, we all knew it was coming. We didn't really know what to expect. But then all of a sudden there was like an energetic flash, like a lot like what you're talking about, these waves, except this was the wave of all waves, and it zapped us. It wasn't painful, and I just remember having this sense of freedom, right? Like, all of a sudden I could fly, and I was free. And I don't know if I was a spirit or if I was in a light body, or because I wasn't concerned with my body anymore. Let's put it that way. I wasn't even concerned with it. I was just like, wow, I'm free. This is great. Look, it was like, just being free is the only way of, like, feeling liberated. You know what I mean? I wasn't even concerned. So this is what I want to go into about that topic. There's a lot of fear, I think. Not fear, but people, are we going to physically die? You know, how does this look for us? Are we going to get bilocated to another planet? Is a spaceship going to pick us up? Are we going to physically die? Is the sun going to zap us and we're going to die? You know, our Earth change is going to happen and we get wiped out. Like, there's a lot of like we don't understand and we're seeking to understand. You know what I mean? So I want to know, what's your perspective on this and the information that's come in recently. What is your perspective on what this looks like for different people?
Oh my God. I laugh because I ask them all the time, how is this going to work? And here's the thing. I've been getting more and more information about what it's going to look like after it's happened.
They don't want us to know. They don't want, that's my, they don't, it's not important. Just like it wasn't in that vision I had. I was just happy I was free. It wasn't important what happened in my physical body. It was just not even something that occurred to me. It wasn't even a thought.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, and they have told me that as well, because I keep pushing them, and they said, like, we can't tell you. You have to experience this organically with everybody else. Now, I will but explain to you one image that I did get, and it's kind of a little bit with the vision that you had, was, you know, we're feeling all of these, you know, kind of like craft are just, they're just there. They're just, you know, kind of hovering in space. And I had this vision. I was just walking in my bedroom, and then just this vision just hit. And it was people, you know, just going about their life, just walking down, and some type of information, something happens. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I got the sense that everybody started to go into this fight or flight mode, like brain breaking, you know, like that psychotic snap fight or flight mode. Mm-hmm. And all of these craft, which have been just hovering up there, emitted this energetic feeling. Now, I have felt this before when I've had, you know, because people sometimes ask me, like, aren't you freaked out when I see some of the beings that I do see in my house? You know, like, how do you not freak out? I'm like, I don't know. Like, because I feel them first. And so I understand, like, they can make the environment for you to feel calm. Mm-hmm. So what I saw was being emitted by all these craft, and I'm talking about craft or like craft to craft to craft to craft to craft to craft around the entire globe. They're emitting at the same time this feeling of, and like it literally, I just saw all these people taking like this. And they go to that part, it's like they shut off that fight or flight pathway inside of us, to where then we're in a place where we are processing information with common sense, like, because we're not there, we can process. And then I was just seeing, and all these people, they're like, I get that. Okay. Like that makes sense. Okay. Yes. And they're just accepting of something. Now, I don't know what that was, but I definitely just felt the overwhelming that everyone's like, and everyone just sighs and they're relaxed and they're processing something, and it's not in that fight or flight space.
I wonder if we'll be put in some sort of trance for that final, they have to know when that final wave is hitting us, right? That's going to do whatever it's going to do. I wonder if they'll put us in some sort of trance so that we're not tripping. I don't know. What do you think?
I was out again. I was like out for a run again, and all of a sudden I felt all of these beings coming in around me, and they were literally putting me inside of this bubble, this small little bubble, to the point where I just stopped and I was putting my hand out, and I'm sure if somebody saw me, they're like, is that woman a mime? What is she doing? Because I just was like pushing out because I could just see this. And they all came around, and I'm like, what are you doing? And they said, we're coming in and we're putting this bubble of protection around you so your organs don't feel these waves coming through. So I have seen both them put this etheric bubble around myself. Then I've also, I think I shared this on our talk with James, I can't remember, a suit There's literally a suit underneath of my skin that I've seen, and it starts from my wrists to my ankles, and it's just this entire suit, and it's underneath of our skin. And I know that they're doing this to other people. And again, when I saw this, I'm like, what is this? And they said it's so that when these waves come through, your internal organs aren't affected by it. So it's like bringing in this protection, for us as these waves come through and hit us. So I actually, I've seen what mine looks like. I was actually doing an energy session on my daughter. I wasn't expecting it, but as I was in there in Aurora, I saw hers underneath of her skin. It's a completely different pattern and it's a different color, but it's underneath of her skin.
I wonder if our physical bodies are gonna change, or if we'll just, I don't understand. I don't think there is any understanding, and they don't want us to understand clearly.
Well, part of the message that I got, because again, like I'm a pushy broad, like that's the reason why I went into journalism. Like I need to know things.
Right.
Was the reason why they can't tell us is because of how we're going to experience it, and because we do, like they're like, you can't hijack this, like you can't skip ahead.
Right.
Is because it's going to happen in such a way it has to like forever be embedded in our DNA forever. And because it's gonna be like it's just gonna, I just have this feeling that it is going to be like oh my God, that just happened. And it's almost the pressure of it, the experiencing of it, it's going to be forever in us. And that's one of the reasons why we chose to come here, is because when we move on from here, then we are going to go out into the universe and we're going to be teachers, because we've experienced this and we know what it looks like. We know how it feels. It will be forever embedded in us. And then we're going to go out and splinter again and become teachers.
What do you think? I saw an article today in Newsweek about, this whole thing with Fauci's coming out, you know what I mean? And they're talking about now China's flexing, talking about, they're talking nuclear war. That's what was in the article. And I couldn't help myself, Abby. I want your take. Like I chuckled at it. Like they'll never allow that. Good luck.
That's exactly. I mean, whenever anybody ever raises nuclear war, I'm like, there's nothing on our. Yeah, number one, they're not going to allow it. Number two, they've taken almost everything out. Now, what is very interesting was, I believe it was in January or February, I don't know, but I remote viewed, and it was Mr. T speaking to a group of troops, and he was announcing to them the reason why they didn't do something was, and I had to look this up in the morning because I didn't know what the word meant, was he said they had scalar weapons and we didn't realize they did. Who
did? Who had the scalar weapons?
That would have been like the deep state.
Right.
And it was like all of these troops were going to go and do this mission, and it was Mr. T saying we had to pull back. We couldn't move forward because we found out they had the scalar weapons, and we didn't realize that they had that capability. Which is the EMP.
Thank you, 2 cents, Karen Hare and Stacks. You know what? That reminds me of all these energy attacks that have been happening at the White House. There's been like 130 or 150 people that have been affected now by this.
No.
Is this just it's just an all-out assault by them, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
Yeah.
But it's only going to get so far because we have assistance.
Yeah. So I will show, I did remote view this, and this was, almost 2 years ago now. I was, and sometimes like remote viewing, it's almost, I want to say that it was me in astral, but it was me as somebody else, but I was viewing this, but I was also a participant in it. It's because you shift from up and then in. But I know it was in Brooklyn, and I know that it was an underground facility. And I know that it was an exchange of a communication technology that was not originated from this planet. But what was along the walls, and that was the part that I was participating in, were the higher dimensional beings. And they were not to physically interact but they were there because I could view them across from me, and then I was in a line of them, and we were just there to make sure the exchange happened. It was like we were holding and creating the space, but also being there in physical presence of this is going to happen. And I literally, we were in this base, this underground like tunnel something, and this group came in, and then some important parts of our military came in, and the deep state, they handed over this communications device to our military, and so like just the higher dimensionals, they were there to watch it happen, to make sure that it happened. So I woke up, from that, I woke up 2 years ago and said, oh my God, at least like we just hit them off the knees. They don't have the communication device anymore.
Do you think it's possible that, because I felt it wasn't just shock what happened after the 6th. It wasn't just shock that I felt. It was, I would say, a definitive timeline switch, right? So do you think it's possible that people that have access to that sort of thing could have done that? Jumped our timeline? Do you think that could have been... What's your take on why that went south?
So my take on that is nothing can stop where the ending is, where we're going. Like it's already
100%. 100%. It's just the road to get there.
The road to get there.
Yep.
And I'm feeling that they had a path that they thought, like, I feel like these scalar weapons, that was a major like timeline shift. Like we didn't know, like that was something that came out of nowhere. They didn't know that they had them, and that was a shift. But yeah, I agree with you that we're always going to end up here, but instead of going like this, we might have to go like here, or then go here, or then go here, but no matter what, we're going to end right here. Like it's this always the ending. That is never going to change.
It's just like their time or how it's going to play out has been extended a little bit. That's all. Mm-hmm. But it still ends the same.
Still ends the same.
Yep.
There's literally no option.
Yeah.
Other than the light winning. It's and again, because I get messages from them, because from them it's already happened.
Right.
It's just, again, it's like they're just waiting for us to catch up, for our perception to get there.
I see lessons in it for us too. I see definite lessons in it. As much as it's unpleasant, I see the lessons that it's teaching us, and I see how much more it's pushing us into unity consciousness.
100%. And just even, I know for my own personal growth and learning, I kind of, I love it when the dimensionals come in and it's like they lovingly, teach me harshly. I was starting to fall into this trap of, the hokey pokey, and like, well, I'm not gonna have anything coming into my body. I didn't choose that. Like, I don't think I don't know if I want to do sessions on people in person. Like, I don't know if I want people in my house. And, I started going that way.
People that have done this made that choice. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that choice. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. I just call it the little hokey pokey, because, it started with a hoax.
Right.
But it's so funny because people get so mad. They're like, it's not a hoax. People really got sick. Well, yeah, it's a virus. You do get sick, but
people really get the flu every year too.
I know it's not enough to, completely shut down the entire globe. But at any rate, and so I was really, kind of going that way in regards to, that division of, I don't want to be around those muggles. And then it was just literally this lion being came through me and out of me, like this beautiful tawny lion, and it was just like, stop, and they're like, you are going down into that fear, like stop with the fear. And it was just very, very powerful, like, you did not choose that timeline. You made a choice. You are not going down that path. You are a sovereign being. Like, it will not affect you. Just stop it. And, you know, like, it is all unity. Like, it's almost like we're doing it again, like just like another like division. And again, like, it is. And I know it has been a struggle, because especially for those, you know, who feel really strongly, like, you know, we're here for healing, you know, like healers and helping people and bringing in this unity consciousness. And it's been so interesting over the past year and a half how many times they've tried to come in and like and divide and, you know, separate and divide. And you know, but I'm not going to say, like, you can also be educated and be wise. You know, I'm not going to purposely go and you know, and put myself around an area where I know it's just going to be being emitted like mad and not going to, you know, take care of my own body, my own being, but I'm not going to keep it from living my best life. So that was, you know, the kind of their message coming through, like, you take care of your system, of your own body. Don't go into that fear. You didn't choose that. And then along with that, they also gave me the feeling that, you know, everything is about what is our intention behind our actions, you know, and that's energy and that's frequency. And they were saying, you know, those that chose to get the hokey pokey, it's going to matter if in their heart, if their intention was of being service to others, they genuinely did get this because they felt that it would be helpful to other beings, that is going to matter. There is going to be an opportunity there for them, whether it's, you know, something where like the medbed tech might work for them, or there's just something that's not going to turn on. There's something in that intentional energy of where in their heart they genuinely got this, because I'm doing this in my heart to help others, to help other people, you know. And you and I both know, like, the people who got it versus, well, I am better than other people and I'm going to get this to show other people, you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So that was being explained to me as well. So
yeah, I think you know, I think the lesson, because I'm guilty of it myself. I was telling you that I go in the grocery store and I don't go out much, but when I do go out, I've been getting annoyed with it lately. I'll hear the people in the line talking about, who'd you go, which one did you get, and I'm getting really judgy lately, where I just look at them like, you know what I mean? Like, get me out of the store. And I'm catching myself doing that. I'm really good this topic came up, because it's not the way I need to be looking at them. I need to be looking at them with compassion and non-judgment. And I know that, you know what I mean? I'm wrong. And I know that. And that means I have work to do if I'm going out in public and judging other people because they're not on the same track I'm on. We're all on different tracks. You know what I mean? And like you said, I never really even thought about the intent. What is their intent behind getting it? You know? I never really thought about that, you know, and I got to get out of that. That's why Jesus is really such a tremendous example and should be to all beings, you know, about the whole non-judgment thing. Or it's just, there's an energy and a power behind compassion and not judging others.
Yeah.
There's a transformative energy behind that just, I don't have the words to explain. It's important that we understand that.
Yeah. You know, I commented on my social media a couple of days ago, the word grace.
Yes.
It keeps just popping up in my head. And, you know, it's just something that's not in my normal vocabulary. I always just, you know, like, oh, I'm sending you love. I'm sending you my thoughts. And then just lately, it's like, I'm sending you grace. And, you know, I really tapped into that because, like, why am I saying that? Why does that feel so much better to say that? And it's just, and it's like, I'm sending you grace. And it's like putting out this space. I know it sounds corny because I know that it rhymes, but, you know, when guidance showed me what holding space for someone is like, you know, they showed me a room, and when you say that, it's, you know, if I'm holding space for someone, I'm sitting against the wall back here, quietly putting out that loving intention, and I'm watching someone who I care about all the way on the other side of the room, crying, breaking down, because it's important that person is feeling what they're feeling. I'm not going to come in and rescue them. I'm not going to come in and try to fix it, but I'm going to be present in the room with them so that they can just feel that energy is there. And I'm there for them when they process and they have gone through that. That to me is like what holding space is. And that's what we're like sending someone grace. Like I'm sending you that space, and I'm going to be like, I'm going to visually watch you on this journey on your soul contract. And I'm here like in a loving way.
That's the same thing the galactics are doing for us. That's what just came in while you were saying that. It's the same exact thing. They can't do it for us. They can't fix everything for us. That's not their job, and they understand. Their job is to hold the space for us to do that for ourselves. And that's what we need to be doing down here with the other beings who aren't quite getting certain things yet, you know?
Yep. You know, and we can't rescue. I think it's been more prevalent than ever. You know, I'm seeing this in my life. I know some of my other friends are. The power of soul contracts, how strong those are. And you have to let people go on their journey. It just is that way. You know, another guidance talks to me a lot in metaphors. And I say that because it just comes up. It's just a universal concept, and I love it. I love to use this all the time. And it was, don't anchor yourself in someone else's wake. And you know, and they gave me the visual of, you know, being out in the water, being on a boat, and you know, someone coming off of the back of the boat and they're skiing, okay? And so like while you're in that wake, you know, they're just gonna be hitting with like turbulence, and maybe, you know, a log comes in there, and they're out there doing their journey. Like this is their journey, this is their path. And so when they said don't anchor yourself, because so often we want to like be out there with them and literally like a metal anchor, because we think that's loving them. Like, oh, I can't leave them out there like to face that turbulent water by themselves. I need to be like out there and like taking the waves with them. And they said, no, get back in the boat. You can be out there in the water with them, but stay in the boat. Like that's their life path. That is their journey. But you can be out there encouraging them through it. You know, just like when you're out in the water, like encouraging, like, you know, good job. Oh, there's, you know, a log coming, but like you can handle it. I love that metaphor. It just applies to so much in like what we're seeing right now with people's soul contracts and the choices that they're making. It's, you know, I'm just going to stay in the boat. I'm going to love them. It's, you know, I'm not going to stop doing that, but I'm not going to join that.
You got to love them where you're at. That goes for everybody. Hey, thank you, Kaboomer, for your gold pills. I appreciate it. They just started doing gold pills on the Foxhole. I'm not used to that yet. And, yeah, so I have another platform where where there's donations coming in where there wasn't before. So thank you so much for your support, guys. Appreciate it. If I miss you, I'm sorry. I'm just a little enthralled in this conversation, but I'll definitely find a system for acknowledging everybody and figuring out who's donated. So yeah, I really liked that metaphor, Abby. It's just about staying in non-judgment. And it's not just non-judgment of others, it's non-judgment of yourself. That's like the place you got to start at, or you're not even capable of not judging others.
I know.
And that's the wild part of the ride, is becoming okay with you. You know what I mean? And if you can be okay with you and not judge you, you have a hope of starting to learn to not judge the other selves, you know?
Well, you know, because when you get to the place of truly knowing that we are all infinite beings and we all are connected, we're all one, then you realize that by judging others, you're judging yourself, because they are you. We're, you know, all of us are the same soul. It's just all connected.
Do you think they are? I mean, my conception, like my understanding of them, right? The good guys out there, like, are they us? Like in our, what would be our future and our past? Is that what they are? They have to be, right? If all time's happening at once. On some level, they have to be us.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, they're definitely our soul family. I mean, absolutely. You know, I literally have talked to parallel versions of myself that I'm living right now. like the Arcturian that comes through. The reason why she blends in so well into me for certain healings is because it was just like this aha moment, like, duh, it's because it's you. Like, that's the reason why I can hear them so well, and she comes right in, and it's natural, and I like can become her. I've had an Andromedan version of myself that I've seen, and she has explained things, and it's, even though she doesn't look anything like me, it's me. I know that, all these different aspects.
Have you ever
one time
go ahead.
No, so go ahead.
Have you ever seen your higher self? Do you know go ahead.
I have gone to, I did a meditation once, and it was to go to your highest timeline. And I have seen that. It was a pure crystalline being. Oh. I was, in a this whole crystal area, and from the back, it was like I was viewing myself, but it was walking, and from the back, it was just these spectrals of light, but it was within a form.
Interesting.
Then as I turned, look at myself, as she turned, it literally morphed then into a face, because they can literally be any type of perception that they want to be as it's like an instant manifester. And so they showed me what my life there, what I'm doing there. And they had these pools. So like along the side, like we were just walking along the side are like the different areas, but they had these like pools. And then at different time, these beings would come around and they would look down into these like pools. But what the pools are actually looking at down below is they could pull in different like planets in different areas. And they were deciding, as from different groups, what should we bring in there? And it was like they had the blueprint, the source blueprint was within them, and they could put together any type of species or plant or anything, and they were deciding what all they could put onto that area, while at the same time they could also, it was like move that, and then they can look down, and if they needed to jump into a timeline to either help somebody out or to shift something forward, then they could literally just within an instant project themselves there and become what they needed to be. And or like they would be that random person that you would see on the side of the street and be like, oh, you know what? I love that like that coffee shop. You might want to go over and try that. And then boom, they would be gone. Like they can just pop down and help shift some certain timelines as well. It was the coolest thing I've experienced, and it just completely made sense.
That's cool. That's super interesting. I was thinking the other day too, something came to me about the moon. So I'm like, somebody had to have put the moon there. It's totally a ship. Like it's not a moon, right? So I'm like, somebody had to have put that moon there. And I'm trying to conceptualize and wrap my mind around how you move planets. And then it hit me. I was like, you just teleport them. You know what I mean? You don't physically move them. You don't tow them. You just teleport them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it made sense. I was like, it's really not that complicated. But in our little third dimensional minds that are so suppressed, we can't conceptualize how you could move planets and planetoids. But it's really that easy. Like once you've mastered these sort of things, it's really that easy for them. It's just move it here, move it there.
Yeah. I did a QHHC session, and in that I saw myself as in a life in Egypt, but obviously I was not from this planet. And he was building a pyramid. Now these weren't the Great Pyramids. These were what we now know as the step pyramids. And he was explaining what they were. But in that they asked, well, how did you build those? And first off, he was so arrogant. He was such a butthead. And he said, well, you just tell it with your mind and you just move it. Mm-hmm. Like, duh. And, and she said, well, how do you do that? And he says, you just command it to, and it will be done. Like you just form. And he was just showing me in the mind. He couldn't even explain it because he doesn't even know how to explain it. You just do it.
Is it just not something you think that we're capable, unless maybe your consciousness is on a certain level that's accelerated, but we're just not capable of doing it. Maybe that's fifth density beings that can just sort of think about something and it exists in physical reality. I mean, do you think the third density beings can do that if they become like, I don't know, masters on some level, but I don't even know if it's possible. What do you think?
I don't know. I think that's an excellent question. Sometimes I'll start to have remembrance of certain abilities, and it's like this physical vessel starts getting so hot from the frequency that's literally like turning on that I feel like I'm going to come out of my skin and explode. And then it becomes a little overwhelming, so then I just shut it down. Like it just, I feel like I'm literally just gonna go and just come out of my skin, because the energy and the light becomes so strong when I'm thinking about turning on certain abilities that I know I've had. Like for instance, the flying thing, that was a huge major download. One night, I literally spent the whole night being trained to fly. And, and I've had this one being in my life, my whole entire life, and he's my teacher. And, but I can hear his voice and I can see from here down, but his face is always blurred, to which, he said, he goes, if you actually saw my face and I told you my name, you literally wouldn't stay here. Like, he goes, you already struggle enough, like being here, but if you actually saw me, he goes, you would never, I wouldn't stay here. So, but anyways, he was teaching me how to fly, and he was getting very frustrated because I don't even know where I was at. It was like red rocks everywhere, and I was just supposed to just like jump. And he goes, just do this. You know how to do this. Just go. And I finally did, and it connects within our pineal gland, and it's like we connect with the energy core of wherever space we're at, like the planet, and that it's like we can read that gravitational force but we control it using our pineal gland. And that's what I was doing, and it literally felt like I'm pushing off through thought off of the gravitational field. And it feels like when you have magnets, like that opposing force, it creates that type of, and that's what you're constantly like pushing off of for that momentum to move forward. But it's like getting into that like sweet spot within your consciousness and just connecting, but you have to really connect with where you're at physically.
Yeah, I think you're right. I did a little baby move, a little beginner's move with it once. So I know it's possible, actually. I take it back. I do know it's possible. It's just not on the level, or at least not on the level that we perceive of like being able to build a pyramid or something like crazy like that. Like we wonder when we'll get to that point of being able to just create things like that with our mind. But I know that it's accurate, that that's possible. And it's even possible to begin to do things like that in this experience. But it's hard. None of us really have the time to sort of seek the creator on the level that we would need to in order to start to accelerate that process. Most of us are too busy trying to pay our 3D bills and.
Yeah, and then you go down that rabbit hole and you realize that that whole system was put in place for that very reason.
Oh, it's exactly why it was put here. That's exactly why it was put here. Yeah. They even said to me too, it's like what you were touching on earlier. I go through these periods where I miss them a lot, and I just want to be with them, or I just want contact, and I haven't had it, and I just get not sad, but just I miss them, and it came through the other day that this is why. Because it's already so hard for you to do what you're doing. It would be that much harder if we interacted with you. And that's why we stay away. And I understood that on such a profound level. Like it made me cry, okay, you're doing it out of love. I understand, And
on that flip side too is, and they've made me see and feel that they miss all of us just as much as we're missing them. Like it's a huge loss for them. It's just a disconnect. When I was talking with Arcturians back in January, they showed me the image of, they're very excited for us to get to the perception point where we are perceiving them. And they said where we can, come and join around the table again. And I mean, they use more eloquent words. I'm just, and when they use that verbiage, I just started crying because I just felt from them like they're so ready to physically be in our physical lives, like, in this physical existence where, it's not happening while we're sleeping or in astral or when we're, being like taken going up there and then we don't have them. Like they also want to get to a place with us where they are physically in our lives as well, instead of this kind of like song and dance that we're doing. So, you know, they get frustrated. For one of my clients, one of her, it's, you know, it's her twin. And it's a Lyran, you know, I call it Lyran, but he was literally in my kitchen, like just pacing, because, you know, she felt that she needed to connect with him, but she couldn't hear him. So she reached out to me and she said, can you just connect with him? Because I've seen him before. And as I'm just writing down and talking, you know, I'm writing down what he's saying. He's so frustrated because he goes, I don't want to be saying this to you. I'm like, I go, what am I supposed to do? Like, this is what you've got, you know, because it was such an intimate connection. And really, you know, all he was really mainly kind of wanting to say is, like, how much, you know, I miss you, and I'm seeing the work you're doing, and I'm so proud of you. Like, I know how hard it is for you to come into this state and have this amnesiac, you know, state that we're in, where we forget everything. And he was, I'm honoring the work that you're doing. I'm seeing you. And she channels the most beautiful light language. It's beautiful. And he just, you know, and he just got so emotional. He said, I'm so proud of you. And then he would look at me, he goes, oh, he goes, I don't want to be telling this to you. I want to tell her. And so it's very hard, you know, it's hard for them to have to go sometimes through people, you know, like mediums, you know, to get that message through, because they just want it to be direct. So.
Yeah, I don't know what your perception of it is. It seems like it's very frequency dependent. Everything is frequency dependent. How much you can be reached, how much you can reach them, how much you physically observe. A lot of things, even reading books, I think is frequency dependent. How much of that book you're gonna pick up versus what's actually in that book is frequency dependent, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. I can't stand it. You know, I'll be in a book and I'll be so excited to read it, and I love the material, and I'll wake up an hour later and not having realized I'd fallen asleep. I can't stand that. And I know that part of that is perhaps there's something there that either this brain wasn't ready to take in, or like I needed to get to that state in order to really kind of think about what I was reading. You know, and so that's frustrating to me sometimes too, when we do have that, our brains, it just shuts off and we just fall asleep. That drives me nuts when that happens. Or I'm like watching a documentary and I'm loving the information, and then I wake up an hour later, I'm having not even realized I fell asleep.
Do you remember your dreams for the most part?
I used to remember. That was one of the reasons why I love to sleep. Like, I've always loved sleep because I have the most amazing dreams. I mean, it was like the minute I woke up every day, I couldn't wait till I go back to bed. And that's been a major theme
Me too.
in my life. I like that realm a lot better. But to be honest with you, the past couple of years, sleep has not been my friend. Like this past week, I can't sleep. I'm just like, I'm so exhausted, but I just like lie wake till 4 a.m, but I'm so tired.
Yeah.
It's, you know, but because we're getting slammed like in all directions right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I do love my sleep.
I eat ice cream. I don't know what my thing is about it, but I eat ice cream in the astral plane, and it's just as good. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'll wake up from a dream and I'm eating ice cream, and I'll have to go and get me some vegan ice cream at the store because it was that enjoyable in the astral plane. I was like, I really got to eat some ice cream now. So, and this has become a theme with me, and I don't know why. It was like yesterday, I was cooking. I was in the astral plane, cooking, making food. There was other stuff in the fridge that wasn't in my actual fridge in the 3D. There was other stuff, and I was like, oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. And I was cooking stuff and eating ice cream. I'm like, why am I cooking lately in the astral plane? Like, shouldn't I be doing something important besides making myself snacks? You know what I mean? I feel guilty about it. Like, shouldn't I be doing something important right now? Why am I making myself snacks every time I go to sleep?
It's better food. Must be better food. I think it's hilarious. I love it.
It's super weird. I don't know why I'm making snacks, you know?
Yeah.
But it seems like I'm not allowed to remember the important stuff for some reason. It's always been this way. And except for visions, things that are going to happen that I need to know about, or I need to get word to somebody else, then I'm allowed to remember those. But for the most part, no. So it's almost frustrating to me. Like, really, this is all you let me remember vividly is eating ice cream and snacks? Like, this is all I get?
Yeah. I had this one week where every morning I was waking up, I knew that I had literally just been thrown in my body, like up to the very last millisecond.
Yeah.
Then I was waking up. And I mean, I just, these mornings you feel like you've been hit with a semi truck, like, oh my God, I just got beat all night. And, exhausted all during the day. By day 4 of waking up with that, because like you said, like I have no memory. Mm-hmm. By day 4, I literally had it out with my higher self. I had it out with my guides. I'm like, done. If I'm going to feel like crap all day long and physically feel this, then I at least want to know what I'm doing. Like, I know I'm doing work. I do not consent to have the memory wiped anymore. Show me what's going on. I was, very demanding. And, so I was in the car, my husband was driving, and we were like going through this drive-through for, I can't drink coffee anymore. They took coffee away from me. And, but it was like a vroom, 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 and I just got all these flashes, like just coming in, and I just wanted to burst out crying. That's all I know. It's like, I just wanted to cry. And it was like, I just took this breath, and it was all these flashes. And I told my husband, I go, I need to get back home. Like, I just got slammed. I need to filter through this energy. I don't know what to do with it. So, yet again, I go for my run, because that's my meditation. And as I was doing that, like, all of the images that had just came in, they started playing like a movie. And we had discovered it was like yet another planet that had children on it that for trafficking, like another planet that they had stolen children to. They weren't humans, but from the perspective, I was like with my group, but we were from this higher perspective, hiding kind of like behind these rocks. And it was like 2 by 2, these children walking and marching in, and all of them had like this pinkish maroonish skin, no hair. And they all had these uniforms. It was like half black, coming like solid black, and then like dark maroon. And it's almost like they like kind of zipped this way, long sleeve pants. But it's like I can feel the material, that because I was that close, I could see it. But we were literally, it's like we were doing reconnaissance work, and we were seeing these kids. And then it was like I quickly jumped from that to I was in meetings, all of these meetings, trying to figure out, okay, how are we going to go in and how are we going to grab these kids and save them? And at the same point, I just fell to my knees when I was out there and just yelled out an expletive. And just this feeling of, this is everywhere. Like, when are we going to stop finding these places where they've taken children to for slave labor? Yeah. And what other means? And so, part of me is like, all right, now I guess I can kind of understand why I didn't remember that, because it was extremely emotional. It wasn't, like a great, exciting thing to remember. But at the same point, at least I can see what I was doing. That's, and part of me felt, okay, if they're already starting to kind of like look for other areas where this is going on, then it means that here is more cleaned up than what we think, because they're already, these groups are kind of like moving on and continuing to look to where they can rescue these kids.
Yeah, I think, they don't let us, we're not supposed to remember because it'll affect what we're doing here if we know. It's like you just said, though, but you can tell your higher self, for those that are unaware, you can demand to be shown something, and they will show you however you want to look at your higher self, it, her, him, however you want to look at it. Your higher self will show you. But I think for the most part, that choice is being made not to let you remember, to protect you in some way, to protect your third dimensional human self from understanding, because it would be hard for you to assimilate into your experience and your path here. I don't know. That's my take from it. So,
yeah.
I mean, even though I complain about it, I don't know how well I would like to know either. So, or how, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's difficult for other people to not realize, but understand you know, those of us who are a little more like tapped in and know the work that we're doing in astral, you know, it's hard to explain to people why. It's like, how can you be tired? You like slept for 9 hours, but you feel like you slept zero,
Right.
you know, being more exhausted than when you went to bed. There was there was one night, and you know, I didn't travel, but they came in and they were doing a healing on me, and it was really interesting because I remember all of this because they were literally on the side of my bed doing this, and it was literally, you know how like you put in like a loaf in an oven, it's like you open the door like whoop, and then you pull it out.
Mm-hmm.
They were doing that to me. They were going in, pulling me out of my physical body. And then so then I was like standing there watching them do this healing on my body. And they were going through and looking for nanotech that was in my cells. And it was like they're doing like a scan, like, oh, there's some. And they like, it's like they lifted up, they separated out of all the cells, and it's like they pulled out the nanotech and they put it back together, you know, like put my body down, slam my knowingness back inside. So it was like, boom, like being through, and they're like, scan. Oh, there's some more. Boom, pulled me out, brought the cell out, expanded it, found it, grabbed it. And they just like did this all night long. You know, so when I woke up in the morning, I do, you know, I had the memory, but it was like, oh my God, like I feel like I have been taken apart and put completely back together 1,000 times. So I know that they're coming in and they're doing these type of healings for some of us. Well, probably a lot of us.
Yeah, I would imagine. I've never had that experience, but you have a lot of these profound. Have you always had these sort of experiences your whole life where you were this aware? Because I know for me, I was completely asleep until 2017. I just woke up in 2017. And it's been an accelerated path since then, right? But I was completely unaware of anything in 2017. I didn't even know we were living in a matrix or any of that. Like, none of it.
Yeah, aware to the level I'm at right now? No, not at all. I just knew there was always a piece of me that didn't make any sense. I was always tapped into the different, like kind of like the realm, like that was always a part. It was just, I always lived in a house that had activity in it. It's just, that was always my life. I could always, you know, things were always being messed with in my house. I would always hear like tapping on my windows. You know, I had moments of missing time. Mm-hmm. You know, there was times when I was in college, I would sit down to like study, and I would look out the window because I would finally like be in the apartment all by myself. And I would look out the window, it would be 9 a.m. And literally the next second, it was 10 o'clock at night and just gone. Like, so I had that. I had it happen a lot.
When did you become really on like the level of awareness that you're kind of at now? And I know it's a process, but I mean, when would you say that your awakening process accelerated, where you became consciously aware of the contact experiences you've been having your whole life, essentially?
I started having a much stronger relationship with my guides, and these are not the extraterrestrials, but with my guides, where I started to hear them back in 2006. That was with like my guides.
Okay.
But in terms of extraterrestrials, not until 2018.
Wow, so we have that in common then, because I didn't have any sort of, not that I can remember, no UFO, no ET experiences until 2017.
I mean, now I always saw craft. Like I saw craft. Like I had memories of when I was 3 and 4. Like I always had that, always.
Yeah.
I would see craft. I had like the terror, like, and I know that I had to have been taken because when I was 16 and started driving, I was terrified to drive at nighttime, especially at a certain part in my subdivision, which I lived up in the mountains.
Yeah. And
I always knew like there was just one area where I would almost hold my breath every night. I would come up it because I knew I was going to see lights once I came up, and I'm like it's going to be there. It's going to be there. I'd have that feeling. So like, you know, I've had those aspects, but in terms of having beings like walking in my house and talking with them, 2018. Yeah.
You think as stuff was always going on, we just denied it because we weren't ready, or?
Well, they told me there was a 10-year period. There's only been a 10-year period in my life where they left me alone.
Okay, so they did leave. They admit they left you alone for a while. That's interesting.
Yeah. It was when I was having all my, like, my pregnancies, having kids, like, job, like, and they came through and they said it would have been too much. The energy, like, it would have been way too much for me to handle. So they said, we gave you 10 years.
I think they wanted me to just go at the 3D lost to sleep life as hard as I could, because they knew I'm a very strong entity, you know, and I think I needed to be spanked, basically hard, to for me to have that shift. And then once I had that shift, they're like, oh, we can get through to you now. You've had that shift. You know what I mean? I think that it was hands off before that, because they needed me to hit that wall. Yeah. That it was part of my path, is to hit that wall so hard. That was part of it.
I went to a conference. I actually went to Contact in the Desert in 2018.
Oh, I was there too, I think. Yeah, I was there.
The first one they had in Palm Springs. And while I was there, I kept feeling nauseous. And I went there with my mom. I love my mom. Like, my mom, she's my research buddy. Like, we do everything. She always had these amazing books in my house that I had access to, you know, so she's absolutely a strong person in my soul family. And, but I kept telling her, I'm suppressing something. I'm suppressing something huge. And, I had a woman walk up to me. It was Barbara Lamb's research assistant for her next book. And she walked up to me. I was in line for one of the speakers, and she said, wow, you are a fabulous hybrid. And, and my mom's standing there. I'm like, no, I don't think I don't think I'm a hybrid. And she goes, oh, you don't know yet, do you? And, cause at that point, my perception of being a hybrid was, you have one, like two completely different parents. Like, one parent is extraterrestrial, right, and one is human.
Right.
That was my narrowed view of it. But then, after that conference, as I was telling them, I'm like, I'm suppressing something huge. I really need to start opening this up.
Yeah.
It was like boom, 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 boom. And all of these memories, all of them started coming back. So, I have a lot of memories being 6 and 7 and 8 on craft. And like, the memories have come through enough where I know, like, I spent weeks at a time, because I remembered enough that there was a pattern, like there was a flow of my daily life on it. Wow. I don't know how that looks for taking me then putting me back, but all of it was based around schooling. It was education. They were teaching me, and it was so I wouldn't forget who I was. And with all my downloads, it's always been, you have to remember who you are. You have to remember who you are. And, I access the memory. I've accessed the memory of when I chose to come here. And part of that was because it was an argument. But I said, I put in the soul contract. I know how to write these contracts. And I put it in that you guys are going to come and get me, so I don't forget who I am. Like, you're going to constantly be helping me remember who I am and why I came. I wrote that into my contract because that was a part of my argument, because they did mention that, one of the worries is that when you come down here, you can get caught into this karmic loop, and they were afraid, because we did push ourselves out and come down here, but they're like, but you the rules down there, you could get caught. And I'm like, no, I put it in my contract. You're going to come and get me throughout my life so that I will always remember who I am, to where then I know to not have those. So, I only know the memories of what the conversations I've had, the arguments I've had. So again, it's like, I don't know how all of this stuff works. It's, it's above my pay grade.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't know either. I'm just like, I'm a newly awakened person. I'm still trying to figure it all out.
I think I have gotten to the point, and I've actually talked to Matthew Morgan about this, where I actually don't think that we're ever supposed to figure it out in 3D.
I don't think so either.
I don't think it's possible.
I don't think so either.
I mean, I think it's possible to get close, and the more that we are finding each other and having these conversations, and like, we can kind of put together the pieces of experiences, we can try to assemble as close to an understanding as possible. But, it's kind of, it's like the frustration, but it's also it's fun to always be searching and asking questions. And
I may not have the memories, you know, from like childhood carry with that, but I could tell you there was intervention over and over in my life, over and over. So clearly I was steered away from, I don't know. It just, I don't know.
Have you ever felt them come in and like physically move you or physically save you, like in protection?
Kind of, yeah. I've had things happen that there's just no rhyme or reason why I should have lived, just none, but I did. And then like a series of events happen, things that, or even me behaving in a way that's completely, you know, unnatural, you know, in order to save myself from a situation, which I don't, where did I get that, whatever it is, where did I get that thought, that quick thought process? Where did I get that strength? Where did that come from? Because it took over. I didn't even have to think about it. Was that me? I mean, it's a great question. Was that me doing that? Or was I being divinely guided in that moment to make it out of that moment? I don't know. Good question.
They're excellent questions. Excellent questions. You know, I there was one time when I was younger and I was getting ready to, I was with a group of friends and they were jumping and I knew like if I don't make this jump, I'm probably gonna be in the hospital. And so I did it. I mean, because I'm competitive, like I did it, but halfway
It's a good word for it, competitive.
Halfway through the jump, I literally felt this invisible wall come in and went boom, and it slammed me back. And I just did. And I remember I kind of looked at my friends and I want to be like, did you just see that? Like, what was that? You know, so I've had moments.
Oh, wow. That's like a physical sort of, I don't remember specifically anything really physical like that happening, but also, Abby, I don't remember, like, I don't know, probably if I were to put a number on it, I probably don't remember about 60% of my life, 65.
Wow.
So, like literally.
Wow.
Just don't remember. Like, and I don't remember. Like, it gets hard sometimes because I'll have like relatives of mine that they'll be trying to connect with me and they'll say, do you remember when we did this or when we did that? And I'm like, they see the look on my face, like, no. And it, like, how could you, and they could tell they want to take it personal. Like, how could you not remember that? I'm like, I don't know what to say. I just don't, I don't remember.
I think I think it is it's very interesting and it's trippy for me to have those moments where people are saying like, how do you not remember? Like, you were sitting right there. How do you have no, and you literally, there's nothing there. There is a week in my life, 3 years ago where apparently I was interacting with a lot of people that week. Nothing. We had moved into a house and I went up to, we had like a little guest room.
Yeah.
But it was, you know, my husband's office. We turned in his office and I went up there and I opened up, you know, he had like a little mini fridge and I opened it up and it was all full and organized and it looked beautiful. And I'm like, oh, wow. When did you have time to do that? Wow, that looks amazing. and he looked at me and goes, what are you talking about? He goes, I literally sat yesterday.
Wow.
You sat there for an hour and you did that. I was organizing my desk and you sat on the floor and you did that. To this day, I have no memory of a week of my life. I have no idea.
You know what it's like for me? It's like I can see it's like this. I see the filing cabinet. I can see the label on the file, but I can't access the file. I can't. Crazy. That's what it's like. And I really think that with me, I think the majority of it comes from, I think the higher aspect of my soul walked in. And so I have her cellular memories, which are the labels on the file cabinet. Those are her cellular memories. But I cannot, but when there's cellular memories like that, you can't open the file and access it on a deep level. Like it's not there. You see the label, you know, but you can't access it. It's really bizarre. It's like having this filing cabinet that was from another life that you can see, but you can't get into the file. enough to be able to have a conversation about the memory. That's what
incredible. Like. So I'm gonna bring this up because I was shown this in a reading, and so we talk about past lives, and some people are like, well, how can so many people have like, oh, I remember being Cleopatra, or this person, like, how does that work? And they've unpacked it where, because we are all connected and we're all one soul, we can go into the Akashic or the Akashic, and we can like pull out different lives that have been lived. And it's like we're downloading that program, just like you're talking about, like that cellular.
Oh, that makes sense. Oh, that makes total sense.
And we're like downloading that. So I used to think, until literally a week ago, that you would download, okay, I'm going to download this life into me. I'm going to download this life into me, because you're wanting to pull in certain aspects of that life that will help you in this path. So I was doing a session, and when I got into the throat chakra, I literally heard the word speeches, and it was like speech, 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 speech. And it was like, oh, wow, they're going to be making a lot of speeches in this lifetime. And, and then after that, I saw the image of Abraham Lincoln. And I'm like, why am I seeing Abraham Lincoln? Like, clearly, like, it's not in there. I'm not in the Akashic, but I'm seeing that. And their higher self said, well, we pulled in certain aspects of that soul fragment into this timeline where these speeches are going to be made. We pulled in the courage that was expressed in that lifetime to give them, so they can pull in that courage while they're having, this oratory portion of their life. So you can actually pull in certain, even just emotional fractals of lifetimes where they've exerted, certain things, aspects, in order for you to achieve that in lifetime. That was very interesting for me.
Wow.
They pulled in the courage aspect of Abraham Lincoln into their life.
That's pretty cool. I wish I could do that. Just start pulling on the OGs. You know what I mean? Help me out, boy. I need some help with this one. Help me out with this speech. That'd be nice. I wish I had that ability.
So yeah. I mean, again, it's like we're always learning.
It never ends. That's why I think people that think they know everything are so funny to me. Like, I'm just that think they have it all figured out. I'm like, cool. You know what I mean? I'm glad you think you do, because I don't know what's happening, but I'm enjoying the journey. You know what I mean? I'm enjoying the journey, and I don't really think there is reaching an end to it either. And just when I think I have something figured out, like some new data point comes in, some new piece of information that makes me wonder if I actually had it figured out or not. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm constantly humbled by the whole process, and it's just, you got to love the journey. It's true. That old saying is true. You have to learn to appreciate the journey and live in the now moment and in the present, because you're lost if you don't learn how to do that, because there's no destination that we're getting to where everything's okay and everything makes sense. And that's not the deal. The deal is, it's the journey. That's what we're doing right now. The journey, and every now moment is a part of that journey that you got to integrate and accept and love, and, and all of it, the good and the bad. So
all of it. Yeah. It's, I take that approach, even just with any of my sessions. I just open the door and I just see what's going to come in. And it's like, each one is just a journey. Okay, let's see what's going to come in, like what needs to come in. And sometimes it's not even about healing. Sometimes it's just wanting to share a story with the person of from their family or from the past. This is probably one of my most, it was just awesome seeing this being. So he came in and he said, well, I'm her brother. And I'm like, awesome. Why are you here? And he said, we are crystal wranglers. I'm like, what is a crystal wrangler? Because whenever they tell me, that's always like, what is that? And
sounds cool.
I know.
I want to be one of those.
I know. And he goes, well, it's kind of, he goes, it's kind of in our lineage, to be able to do this. Yeah. And it was so cool because, like, he was standing there in my room, and he bent down low and he pulled his sleeve back. He goes, look, look at my skin. And he goes, do you see that? He goes, this is how it's like we're born into it. And his skin was like almost translucent, and they're like these little teeny, like little fractals, like little tiny crystals into their skin. And he goes, see, he goes, it's like we're born in this, and our whole bodies are like in tune to crystal frequencies, and we can literally feel them in the universe. And he goes, and we go far to find these crystals. And what they essentially do is because they're so in tune with the frequency within a crystal, and because craft is consciousness, these are the people that go and find the crystals, the large enough ones that are used to power these craft. But then they match it with the right consciousness of a craft. So they match the crystal with the craft, and because it has to, as he's explaining to me, he goes, it has to be that perfect, that flow. It has to energetically connect in order for the consciousness. And it almost showed me, like, you know, in the movie Avatar, you know, it's like when their hair like connects with the animal, that's what has to happen. And so they use these beings, like these crystal wranglers, in order to do that, to find the right one. It was the coolest thing. I'm like, sweet, that's awesome. I've never heard of that before.
Babs the Ice Queen just brought something up, and I want to address this real quick, and then I'd like you to explain to people where they can find you and do sessions with you and that kind of thing. But I want to address this real quick before we start to close out the show. So she said, I don't know anything about the alien stuff. I will stick with my ghosts. So I want to say something about that and get your take on it. It appears to me that some people, especially when they're going through the waking up process, they tend to have these ET encounters, experiences, whatever. And other people, it tends to be people that have crossed over, i.e. ghosts. So I don't have it all figured out. I don't know the difference, but I think I have a feeling maybe what that's about. But it's different for everybody. So everybody's path is completely different. And the kind of experience that they have that are beyond this tend to be different for every being, depending on their particular situation. It's just that, what's your feeling on that?
You know, so I've always had experiences with both.
Okay.
And so I just compartmentalized them. And I didn't know how they connected for the longest time. So I'm like, well, I have all this like ghost supernatural stuff, and then I have all my ET stuff there. And I kind of almost felt like I was being pulled, like, am I going to go more with this or more with this? And then when you realize that the supernatural, like the ghosts, they're just in a different dimensionality. They haven't fully crossed over yet. And we all come from source. So they're just at different dimensional places, you know. So I'll go in and, like, I've crossed over. I did a clearing for a house, and there was, you know, this sweet little boy there, and sometimes they get stuck because they haven't, the death was either very traumatic, or there's something they're afraid of. Like, this little boy was in the house, and he showed me, he died in the mid like 1800s here in Charleston. And he showed me his father on the boat, and his father used to go fishing. And because he was little, he was, you know, maybe like the age of 6. And he gave me his name. I can't recall right now, but he would get a little bit antsy, you know, being on stuck on a boat with his dad. So his dad, there was this island here. His dad would pull over to the side, because there was at this time, this was just a wild hunting island. And he would let him pop off the boat, and he could run around in the tall grasses and play. And his dad would just kind of like stay along the edges looking for fish. Well, I felt like it was a rule. He couldn't go to certain areas into this island. Well, he did. And it was beautiful because he was able, if they can get me to their death, if they can show me how they died, then they can cross over. So he was bitten by a snake, and the grasses were so tall and he was so little, they didn't find him. They couldn't find him. And so that's kind of what got him stuck. And he was afraid he was going to be in trouble. That his dad was going to be mad because he went farther than when he was supposed to. So it's just like he just kind of stayed stuck. And so when we go in, and if they can take you to that place where they're remembering, then it's much easier for them to let go, because I call it, like, if I can get to the root, then I can figure out why they're paused here. And, you know, especially with the ghosts too, you have to understand there's a difference between residual energy and then active energy. Like there's just this whole other world, but it's still connected because it's still us. They're still souls. They're just in different places, but it's all the same. It's all the same space. It's all the same area. So, I mean, it's okay because I absolutely do. I have people in my life. Like I took a mediumship course here, and my teacher said, well, apparently there's these people that she didn't know who I was in the class, but apparently there's these people that apparently have like extraterrestrial guides that they see, and she did this, and then she laughed. To where then like all of my people came in because I was like, you know, how dare you, for a whole class full of people, like started to make fun. And it was like, boom, they just pushed in all of this energy into this room. And the minute they did that, I'm like, oh my God, I'm sorry. Like pull back, because her voice instantly started shaking. Like she didn't stop shaking for 2 hours because the energy from my galactics came in so strong. And, you know, I raised my hand when she said that, and I said, they're called galactic guides, and people do have them. I see them. They're, you know, a lot of people, it plays an important part in their life. And I was politely saying, like, you know, please don't put those type of, you know, perceptions in where we're making fun of people. And so, but, you know, it's all, now I'm a different place. I wouldn't have done that because it's, you know, it's everyone's different perception.
Humans are super weirded out by beings that don't look like them. It seems like it's a human thing. I don't really think it's like a human thing. Humans are, you know, especially Earth humans, right? Yeah. In my estimation, are super afraid of things that do, like they have visceral reactions to things that are not them. You know what I mean? It's super wide. It's going to be quite a transformation for us to become a galactic society, because we have such an aversion to things that are not us, or we get scared and we shoot at stuff we're scared of. Like we get scared at stuff that's not us, and then our first inclination is to shoot at it because we don't know what it is. Like if you think about it, that's nuts. Why are you going to shoot at something simply because we have to get to that level, I think, as a race where we're able to read energy, you know, and I think it's happening. But where we're able to read a being, its intent from its energy and its frequency, instead of judging it from the way that it looks. And this is just a place that we got to elevate to, because our natural tendency is to judge, get afraid, and then shoot at whatever we're afraid of.
Yeah. Well, and you know, and here's the question: are we going to actually see them while we're still in 3D, or are we not going to see them?
I mean, what do you think? Because I have my own perception of it, but what's yours?
So I have, you know, I did a future jump, you know, like what am I going to be doing in this timeline, you know, my highest timeline. And I've seen it in other readings, you know, with people. I've seen it with my own people in my life. They're going to physically be with us in
3D. I know they're going to.
I don't know if we're in 5D at that point or not, though. I don't know, because like in my highest timeline, what I saw, and this was, you know, this is when it came through, like, okay, I really have to start, you know, coming out and being more vocal, is, you know, the message to me was like, I'm supposed to be a bridge, like helping bring all this information down to make everyone feel comfortable, like introducing them. And so the image I had was me coming out onto, you know, a stage and opening up, because everyone else are humans and they need other humans to be able to make them feel comfortable. But yet they were already, everyone there was at a place where they already knew extraterrestrials existed. It was just part of knowingness. So it was like almost a introductory, like, okay, this is now our new present. Let's unpack this. And after like 5 minutes of me speaking, making everyone kind of feel comfortable, the person that I know that's in my life that's extra, he walked out onto the stage. I introduced him.
Oh wow!
And then he started lecturing, and it was literally teaching the history. He was teaching history to them and our connection and how we are connected. It was the true history, and I really felt like this is what I'm going to be doing. Like we're going to be going and meeting with these groups of people, and there was like 150 people in this room. And
did the people seem ready, or did they seem like total sleepers, or they were kind of ready?
They were totally ready. Like it was a place where like, we have to know this. No one was scared. It was all a place of, they were actively seeking this information. They were all ready to receive it. It needed to come from me first because, I'm the human. But then when he came out, there was like okay, we're going to listen to this.
Do you think most of humanity knows on a deep level? Maybe they're not in full conscious awareness of it yet, but do you think most of them know, like on a deep level, that they do exist and someday we're going to meet them and find out about that? You think they know? I wonder how they, the most of, anyway, we don't need, I wonder how most of them would react. Sometimes I think that we're ready, but look, what tells me that maybe too is like the disclosure, the little fake disclosure thing that's happening right now, right? Like people don't even care. This is what I think is really interesting. Like they do, but they're not like tripping. It's like, and I think the reason they're not tripping is because they know. The ships have always been here. We've always known there's some conspiracy going on. You know what I mean? And now that we're learning about our world and how corrupt it is, then it makes perfect sense why it even goes, on a galactic level. And it's like, I think humanity overall, they know. And it's they're just being told something on the news finally that they already know instinctually. So until they hear something new to them, like, we have ships already in space, and, until they hear something that's kind of new information to them, just the fact that the ETs exist and they're here is nothing new to humans. I think they've always known that. Maybe even it's in our DNA. They've always been here. The ships have always been here. We have to have always known on some level, even if we haven't come to terms with it consciously.
Yeah. I always tell, whenever I'm talking to anybody and they're like, well, how do you think people are going to feel about, the existence of aliens? I always tell them, look at the highest grossing films in the world. All of them deal Avatar, all the Marvel movies, Star Wars. Those are the highest grossing movies. And the reason why is on a soul level, all of them, it connects with us because it is in our DNA. It's the reason why. And we have this reaction to it. So I agree with you completely. Like, people are not shocked. Everyone, like, with everything in the news that they've been putting out lately, they're like, duh. Yeah, we've known this for years.
And more of anything, it's an insult to everybody's intelligence. Like, oh, you're just now going to come on the news and announce that, like, we haven't known this has been going on for the last century? Like, I really think that's how humanity sees it. And they're just like, bored already. Like, really? Like, what an insult. Seriously, now you want to come out and admit they're they're admitting so little that it's insulting, right? Insulting. It's like, we're not that stupid. Like, you really expect us to believe you don't know what they are and you haven't back engineered any of their crash stuff?
I know.
You really expect us to believe this? This is the narrative you're trying to sell us. We're not stupid.
Yeah.
We're not stupid.
All of a sudden, out of the blue, you're now giving the full go-ahead to all of these military generals to start coming out, even though, you've given all of them deathbed, you can report it when you're on your deathbed. And now all of a sudden, everyone go out everywhere and just start talking about it. Get out of here.
And look at the ships they're showing, too, Abby. Are they showing light ships on the news?
No.
They're showing very physical, mechanical spaceships. Yeah. And I got my own opinions on that, but they're not showing light ships. Nope. They're not showing Merkabas. Nope. None of that. Because,
for 45 minutes one night, I was, we were up doing a Skywatch, and it was all 5 of my members of my family. And we literally, for 45 minutes, watched these 4 craft just toy and play with our military craft. I mean, it was the cool. I mean, they were like coming and they were chasing them, and then they would just blip out, and then they would be behind them, and then they were chasing the fighter jets. I mean, they just messed with them.
Yeah.
For 45 minutes, it was hysterical.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the stuff that they're showing, like a small, like slower going craft, and you can actually get it like really. Like, come on, get out of here. Yeah.
So much cooler stuff out there. Thank you, Tane, Ellie, and Surfer. Let me just. Well, first, why don't you tell people where they can find you and all that stuff real quick, and then I just have a few announcements to do, and then we'll go ahead and end.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
Obviously, you know, I'm on social media, so you can find me, you know, Abby Lynn. I'm just on Facebook right now. I was on Twitter, but I gave up on that hot mess. And but you can find me on my website, which is auricray.com. And so if you want to connect that way, I'm there. And but I am going to be starting, you know, a YouTube.
Do you have a YouTube channel?
I'm getting one. So I'm getting one started, but we're going to start talking about, I'm doing it with Heidi Pop, and we're going to start talking about these starseed kids.
Cool.
Raising starseed. Yeah. Yep.
Super cool. And then on your, so people can go to your website to find more about what you do, but you do like soul reading sessions and that kind of thing, right?
I do. Yep. Yes.
Cool.
I've been doing a lot of them over Zoom. So yes.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. So definitely go and check out Abby's website. And as soon as she does get a YouTube show going, I will definitely make a post about that, like on my Telegram or something, and help you get the word out there. Let me cover these quick announcements real quick before we close. So let's see, super chats, D Live, Better Lately, Patriot 714, Twin Crier, Julie 65, Puppy Montana, Chatter Nuts, PJ Zwiernick, Karen Hare 7, Frost G7 970, Troy Cooks, YouTube EO2 Dave, Down the Stretch, Mark 222. And from my last show with Rise, I'm not positive that I announced these on Sunday. I'm pretty sure I did, but if I didn't, Big Hair Tsunami and Nell Case. Thank you so much for your support, you guys. As far as the gold pills and what, I got to figure out what I'm going to do. Thanks for the tacos, guys. As far as I got to figure out how I'm going to integrate, because it's getting to be a lot, right? So how I'm going to integrate, making sure that I credit and thank everybody. I'll figure that out. But I kind of have a couple announcements to make about the show. So I don't know how many of you are aware, because I haven't said anything yet. I was just given the green light to say something, I think yesterday or the day before. But this is actually going to be the last Wednesday night live show. This is it, the one I just did with Abby. And the reason for that is because I'm going to be co-hosting with Methods on Methods to Madness Wednesdays at, I think, 2 to 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So that'll be starting on June 23rd. So there won't be any more Wednesday night lives. This is it. This is the last one. But I will be coming back on Wednesdays during the daytime on Methods channel. So I'm very excited about that. I'm very, I joke around with him a lot, but I want to say this. I'm very honored that he asked me to do that, and very flattered and very honored. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun doing that show. I'm really looking forward to it. Like being able to hang out with my buddy and take calls from all you guys. I think it's going to be epic, and I'm really excited to do that. So, yeah. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Let's see what else is going on. So tomorrow, Conspiracy Couch is going to be 7:30 Pacific, 10:30 Eastern, right here on this channel. We will be doing time travel. Foil got her way. So yes, we will be doing time travel tomorrow night. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Come and hang out and call in. And then, of course, Space Force News won't be going anywhere. It will be on, like usual, at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And let me see if I can figure out, bear with me, Abby, just a moment. I got to figure out this lotto ticket situation that's had me stumped, but I'm going to figure it out right now. So I got to release the chest on D Live and release the lotto ticket on Foxhole. So here goes the chest on D Live, guys. It's going right. Whoops. I said tuck it. All right, it's going right now, you guys. And let me see if I can figure out the lotto ticket real quick. It has been an absolute treat having you on with me, Abby. And I knew it would be. I knew the moment I did that show with you on ESETI, I was like, I have to have Abby on. She's awesome. And I know we will have a lot in common and have a great conversation. So I'm super appreciative of you coming on with me tonight.
Absolutely. I love good conversation.
You guys, I'm totally trying to figure out the ticket here, and it's not quite happening, Foil, the way that you told me it would happen. So I don't know what to do here. Like, I need some guidance. It's not working for me. I am on pilled. I'm not. I am on pilled. We're gonna have to go over this and figure it out then, because I don't even see what to click on that's going to do that. Is there no, I don't see it. I don't see anything. Somebody's got to show me how to do it. So anyway, I'm going to let it go for right now, guys. I'm really sorry, but I'm going to have to let the scratchers know. I don't know how to do it. I'm not going to keep Abby sitting here for like 10 minutes while I do that. So the chest has been released on DLive. Big thank you to all the mods and everybody for hanging out tonight. It's been a good show, awesome conversation. And Conspiracy Couch is still going to be going on. Space Force News, everything's the same. Just Wednesday nights is no longer for the time being. So yes, Abby, thank you so much for coming on. This has been absolutely a complete delight talking to you. And you will be at ECETI, correct?
I will be at ECETI, yes.
What, do you have any other events and stuff you're doing or stuff you got going on that you want to let people know about, or?
Yeah, I'm just going to be there. And then I'm going to be in Sedona in October for another conference. And, if any of the listeners are local here in Charleston, I'm coming up. I'm going to be teaching with my dear friend, Katie, the modern intuitive class to her. It's really important right now to start building in those natural intuitive abilities. It helps you function in life if you have that in your toolbox to hone those abilities in.
Yeah, and we all have them. It's just a matter of tuning into them. So, absolutely.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
Thank you again, Abby, for coming on. And good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow for Conspiracy Couch. Bye.
Thanks.